Hello and welcome to online class with me, Nusrat Alam, lecturer in English, Milestone College. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. But my dear students, please be very careful and don't get sick during doing fun activities in this season. Because all we care about is your safety and your good health. May you be happy and safe wherever you are. My dear students, have you noticed that I have used different types of sentences over here? First of all, I asked you, how are you? Then I placed my own opinion, I hope you are fine. Then I also advised you not to get sick, and then I prayed for your safety and good health. So sentences are used to serve different purposes. They often can be used to ask questions, often can be used for answering them or placing some statements, ordering, requesting, or for praying. And not only that, we also use it to express our emotions and feelings. And we all know that according to meaning and their uses, sentences are of 5 kinds. What are they? Assertive, interrogative, imperative, optative, and exclamatory sentence. Assertive sentences are used to give statements or informations, while interrogatives ask question. Imperative sentences give order or requests, and optative sentences are used to pray for someone or to express wishes, and exclamatory sentences are used to express our feelings. From this, my dear students, you already have understood that our today's class is on transformations of sentences according to meaning. My dear students, our today's topic of discussion is transformation of sentence according to meaning. That means, as there are 5 kinds of sentences according to the meaning, the transformations that today we are going to discuss are going to occur between these 5 sentences. And so, I want to show you how one sentence can be converted or transformed into all these 5 kinds of sentences. I have taken one assertive sentence, which is, he is a successful man. The interrogative form of the same sentence is, isn't he a successful man? And the imperative form, be a successful man. Optative form, may you be a successful man. And exclamatory form is, what a successful man he is. And the transformations mainly occur between affirmative and negative, assertive and interrogative, assertive and imperative, assertive and optative, and assertive and exclamatory. Now we are going to talk about in detail how are we going to change the sentences from one to another. We are going to discuss in detail how affirmative sentences are going to change into negative, and similarly the same rules should be applied to change a negative sentence into affirmative. So let's check out. First transformation that we see is inside the assertive sentence. As an assertive sentence is a simple or general statement or assertion, either affirmative or negative. Actually, there is one affirmative form and a negative form of an assertive sentence. But the subject structure, the sentence structure is the same, subject plus verb plus object. But there would be negative words in negative sentences. Then how are we going to change an affirmative sentence like this into a negative one? I've given you 3 options. Let's check out. He is a successful man. Negative form. Is it a correct one? He is an unsuccessful man. Does it match with does it go with the sentence that is given already? He is a successful man. We cannot change the meaning. He is not an unsuccessful man. This is not even a negative sentence also. There is no negative word here. Okay, so that's why this is a wrong answer. What about next one? He is not a successful man. This also doesn't go with the sentence. He is a successful man. He is successful. So we cannot deny that. So this is also a wrong answer. He is not an unsuccessful man. He is not an unsuccessful man. That means he is a successful man. The meaning is clear. The meaning has been preserved here and the structure is in negative. So this is the correct answer, which has been able to preserve the meaning of the sentence and has been converted into a negative structure.
Rules for affirmative to negative or negative to affirmative. The first three rules are dealing with the words only or alone. These words only or alone could refer to some person or to some things or material and to some number also. So first one says, if only or alone refers to God or Allah or any person, we have to use none but to change them into negative. For example, only Allah can help us. None but Allah can help us. Here, instead of only we have used none but. Only Hassan could solve the math. None but Hassan could solve the math. Second rule says, if only or alone refers to some material or things, we have to use none but. What's the difference? Here we had none but here we have nothing but. For example, a child likes only sweets. What? A child likes sweets and only sweets. So then, instead of only, we have to use nothing but. Nothing but. The negative form of the sentence is, a child likes nothing but sweets. Then what will happen if only or alone refers to some number? Let's check out. We have to use not more than or not less than. Example says, she is only 10. That means her age is 10. She is 10 years old only, and the age is not that much. That's why we are using the term only. So the negative form of the word sentence is, she is not more than 10 or she is not less than 10. The meaning is preserved, but the sentence has been converted into a negative structure. Must. Number 4 deals with the word term must. Must is a word which deals or which delivers the obligatory facts, or it tells us that there is no denial of the fact. And when we have the word must, we have to use cannot but or cannot help to change it into negative. For example, man must submit to destiny. Man cannot but submit to destiny, or man cannot help submitting to destiny. Here, you have to notice one thing, that after cannot but, the verb has not changed at all. Submit is the same, has been used in the same form. But after cannot help, there is an ing with the main verb, submitting to destiny. You should always be very careful whenever you're going to use cannot but or cannot help. Rule number 5 says, when we have and or both ... and in affirmative sentence, it will become not only but also. Not only but also. For example, both Tony and Ronnie are good students. Both Tony and Ronnie. We have taken this option. Or it could also be said in this way, Tony and Ronnie are good students. And the negative form of them is, not only Tony but also Ronnie are good students. Not only but also has been used here. If we have the term every in affirmative sentence, how are we going to change it into negative? Every is used in, if it is used in such kind of sentence which is almost a universally true thing, then we have to take the help of these phrases. There is no ... but, or there is no ... who does not. And the second one is going to be an example of a complex sentence as well. For example, every mother loves her child. Well, actually, all mothers love their child. What could be the negative form of this sentence? Well, there is no mother, definitely, who does not love her child. Example, there is no mother but loves her child, or there is no mother who does not love her child. My dear students, please remember, this is the most easiest way to change an affirmative sentence to a negative one. What is that? We just have to use an opposite adjective. We just have to use the opposite of the given adjective in the affirmative sentence. For example, he is a successful man. What is the opposite of successful? Unsuccessful. So we are going to use unsuccessful. And as we have to change the structure, we have to use some negative words here. So, but we also have to be careful the meaning doesn't change. So we should talk in this way. He is not an unsuccessful man, meaning he is a successful man. If I tell you, I like you, the negative form of this sentence is a little bit confusing. What do you think? Which is the correct answer? I like you is the affirmative form. What is the negative form? I hate you, or I dislike you, or I don't dislike you. Here is the wrong answer and this is the correct one. I hate you is an affirmative sentence itself. There is no negative word that can change it into a negative one. I dislike you is also the same. But I don't dislike you is a negative sentence, but the meaning is same. I don't dislike you, that means I like you. Isn't that interesting, my dear students? Please remember this chart. Whenever you see these words in affirmative sentence, remember they are going to be changed into these terms. Sometimes will become not always, always will become never. Many will be not a few, a little will become not much. As soon as will be changed into no sooner had ... than. As will be changed into not less or more than.
There is no negative form or negative sentence of an universally true sentence. For example, the sun rises in the east. This is a universally true sentence, and there is no option of doing the opposite. So, if we are asked to change a sentence like this into a negative one, we should change it into a negative interrogative sentence. Then, the sun rises in the east will become, in negative sentence, it will become a negative interrogative. And the answer will be, doesn't the sun rise in the east? An interrogative sentence is used to ask question in a sentence. They can be started with auxiliary verbs or modal auxiliaries and even with some other words.
An interrogative sentence is always used to ask questions about anything. And they are structurally different also from the assertive one. For example, to be verb or do, does, did are used at the beginning and then comes the subject and after that the main verb. There are two ways to form interrogative sentence, starting with to be verb. For example, am, is, are, was, were, have, has, had, should, might, etc. For example, are they your friends? Here you can see the auxiliary verb are has been used at the beginning and then comes the subject and then other options or other words of the sentence. Number B, starting with WH words. We can also make questions by using WH words. For example, who are you? Or how are you? The first rule says, assertive sentence having no to be verb takes do, does, or did in interrogative sentence. My dear students, if you can remember, in earlier I told you that the to be verb comes first at the beginning of the sentence when we are going to change it into interrogative. But what will happen if the sentence doesn't have an auxiliary verb? What should come at the beginning? That time, according to the subject of the sentence and the tense, we have to pick up from these three options, do, does, or did. As the subject here is third person singular and the tense is in present tense, does is the correct option to be taken. He plays football is the interrogative form of the sentence is, doesn't he play football? Doesn't he play football? Here we have taken does and we have added not with it. Why have we added not? Because if the assertive sentence is positive or affirmative, then the interrogative will be a negative one. And at the same time, if the assertive is a negative sentence, then it will be affirmative when it is into interrogative sentence. So let's move on to the next one. He played football. Here the subject is same, third person singular number, but the tense is different. It is in past indefinite tense. So when the tense is in past, we have to take the help of the word did or the verb did. We should use it at the beginning of the sentence. Didn't he play football? Didn't he play football? We have used did and added not with it. Last one, you play football. Check out the subject here. The subject is second person and the tense is present tense. So we are going to take do. We are going to take do instead of does because does is taken by the subject which is third person and singular. So we are taking do and adding not with it. Don't you play football? Don't you play football? Number 2 says,
transforming an assertive sentence into an interrogative one, the first and foremost information that we have to keep in our mind, that is, there is also affirmative and negative in interrogative sentences as well. So, when you are asked to change an assertive sentence into an interrogative one, you should check out whether the assertive sentence is an affirmative or negative one. If it is assertive, then changing it into an interrogative one, the sentence will be changed into a negative interrogative. And if the assertive sentence is in negative form, then it will be changed into an affirmative interrogative sentence. Little confusing, right? Let's see in detail.
To be verb plus subject or to be verb plus not plus subject. What does it mean? That the thing that I told you earlier, the affirmative assertive sentence, the affirmative assertive sentence become a negative interrogative and a negative assertive sentence becomes an affirmative interrogative. So that's why the examples are like this. I was sincere to my duties. I was sincere. This is an affirmative one. So our interrogative has to be a negative sentence. So as we have an auxiliary verb here, I was should be used at the beginning and we are going to add not with it. Wasn't I sincere to my duties? But in the next sentence, I was not sincere to my duties. We have an auxiliary verb and we have a not with it. So as it is negative in affirmative sentence, the interrogative is not going to be a negative one. It will be an affirmative. So we are not going to take not with us when we are changing it into interrogative one. I was not sincere to my duties will become, was I sincere to my duties? Was I sincere to my duties? Number 3, every plus noun in assertive sentence becomes is there any ... who does not in interrogative sentence. You must have seen this term in affirmative to negative rules also. It's almost similar to that rule. For example, every man hates war. Every man hates war. So instead of every, we are going to use is there any? Here, is there any man? Is there any plus subject? And then we are going to use who does not. Who does not, then rest of the part of the sentence, hates war. Who does not hate war? Is there any man who does not hate war? Please remember this chart. If you find a never in assertive sentence, in interrogative, it will become ever. Everybody, everyone, all will become who, plus do, does, did, plus not. Nobody, none, or no one will be changed into who. There is no will be changed into what or is there any.
Exclamatory sentences express our feelings and our excitements. It expresses how surprised we are. It expresses how happy or how sad we are. So, it is actually the way how we express our feelings or emotions. When it comes to change an assertive sentence to an exclamatory one or an exclamatory sentence to an assertive one, here are the rules that we have to follow.
Exclamatory sentences help us to express our emotions or feelings, and these kind of sentences take the help of some interjections like alas, hurrah, bravo, etc. And then they take the assertive form of the sentence. For example, hurrah, we have won. And see the structure. After hurrah, we have used the exclamation sign. And hurrah, the word itself expresses all the expression or all the emotion. That's why after that we are using this term. And then an assertive form of the sentence. We have won. After that, full stop. There is another way that an exclamatory sentence can be constructed by taking help of how or what. And if we construct it in this way, after how or what, we have to use an adjective or adverb. And then comes the subject and verb. How sweetly she sings. How sweetly she sings. And at the end of the sentence, we have to use the exclamation sign. Rules for exclamatory to assertive. First rule says how becomes very in assertive sentence. The sentence, exclamatory sentence starting with how, the word how will be changed into very in assertive. For example, how funny he is. He is very funny. He is very funny. Second rule says what becomes great or very. If we have what at the beginning of an exclamatory sentence, it would become great or very. For example, what a fool he is. He is a great fool. He is a great fool. What a funny boy he is. Here we have the noun and pronoun at the same time. That's why we are going to use very over here. What a funny boy he is. He is a very funny boy. Rule number 3 says hurrah or alas or oh becomes it is a matter of dash that. The expression that these words are conveying, that name of that expression or feeling is going to be added in this gap. For example, bravo, you have done really well. Here, using the word bravo, we are appreciating someone. So, here the speaker might be very happy or might be very pleased. So, it can be converted into assertive in this way. It is a matter of pleasure or it is a matter of joy that you have done really well. And what about the exclamation sign? There will be no exclamation sign in assertive sentence, rather a full stop. Remember this chart, exclamatory sentences and assertive sentences. There are some examples given over here so that you can remember them. Had I the wings of a bird? Here you can see I have used had at the beginning. So this is also a way that exclamatory sentences can be constructed. Had I the wings of a bird? I wish I had the wings of a bird. If I were a king, I wish I were a king. Such a player. He is a great or very good player. Were I a superhero? I wish I were a superhero.
An imperative sentence is structurally different from that of an assertive sentence. As an assertive sentence starts with the subject first, but there is no presence of subject in an imperative sentence. For example, do the math. Go there. Here, who is uttering the sentence or uttering the orders or request, he is actually talking to the second person or the person who is present in front of him. That's why there is no requirement of uttering that person's name in an imperative sentence. So that is why the subject is absent over here. But when we have to change it into an assertive one, we have to add the subject. So let's check out how the transformation between assertive and imperative occurs.
Rules for imperative to assertive sentence or from assertive to imperative. The first rule says when the subject is second person, use you should for assertive sentence. Then if the imperative sentence doesn't have any subject, how are we going to understand that? Well, imperative sentences are used between first and second person. The speaker is the first person and the person spoken to is the second person. That is how we can understand. So, if the imperative sentence says, do the work, you should do the work, is the assertive form. Do not do the work, you should not do the work. Speak the truth, you should speak the truth. That means the first person is advising the second person. That's why we are using you and then should. Rule number 2 says, never, if there is never in the imperative sentence and the subject is second person, you should never will be used to change it into assertive. For example, never tell a lie. You should never tell a lie. Rule number 3, when the subject is first person or third person, how are we going to change them from imperative to assertive? Let us take a walk. Here the speaker is talking about us, which is the subject is first person plural. Then the sentence will be, we should take a walk into assertive. We should take a walk. Earlier you have seen that we used you should and here we should. Why? Because the first person is talking about us. First person plural number. Let him play football. The speaker is talking about a third person, him, third person singular. So that's why that person will be mentioned in the assertive sentence. Let him play football. He plays football. Or we can also use he should be allowed to play football.
Optative sentences are used to wish for someone or to pray for someone. For example, may you be happy, may you prosper in life. Not only that, they also can be constructed without may also. For example, long live our king. So let's check out the ways or the rules of transformation. Optative sentences are the wishes people make for others. For example, may you be happy, may you be successful in life. So, the may becomes I wish when we have to change it from optative to assertive. And the sentence changes into this way, I wish you become successful in life. An optative sentence can also be constructed without the help of may. For example, long live our king. That time also we have to take the help of I wish and the sentence will change into I wish our king lives long. This is how we can change an optative sentence to assertive one. Transformation of sentence according to meaning also includes comparison of a degree. There are 3 types of degrees: positive, comparative and superlative. And
If we are asked to change them, how can we change them without changing the meaning? Here are some of the rules. Let's take the first one. Shofiq is the smartest boy, superlative degree. If we get a sentence like this, how can we change it into comparative one? We have to use comparative degree, and then we should use than any other. And the sentence will become Shofiq is smarter than any other boy. That means there is no comparison of Shofiq in this sentence. That's why we are using the term than any other. Similarly, if we have to change it into positive one, then as we cannot compare Shofiq to any other boy, there is no reference of that in the sentence, so we should use the term no other. No other and as ... as. And the sentence will become no other boy is as smart as Shofiq. We cannot compare Shofiq, and he is so smart that he is not comparable to any other boy. So without changing the meaning of the sentence, this is how we can change a sentence from positive comparative to superlative degree. Dear students, here we have another sentence. Shofiq is one of the smartest boy. That means the superlative degree smartest, there are more than one boy than Shofiq. There are other boys who are also very much smart. And according to smartness, they are equal. That's why we are talking in this way. Shofiq is one of the smartest boys. That means there are other smart boys also. So how can we change this one into comparative degree? Shofiq is smarter than most other boy. That means superlative degree or smartest number of smartest people should be less, or it is less. That's why these kinds of boys are, or the boys like Shofiq are more smart than most other boys, because most other boys are not as smart as Shofiq. So we have used comparative degree and we have used the term than most other. Now let's change it into positive. Very few boys are as smart as Shofiq, because as I told you earlier, the extreme qualities are always possessed by few people. That's why very few boys have this quality. They are as much smart as Shofiq. And without changing the meaning, if we follow these rules, we can easily change them from superlative to comparative, comparative to positive, or from comparative to superlative as well. So my dear students, here is another example when you are comparing between two person or two things. And while you are comparing between two person, there is no superlative degree of it, because to make a sentence superlative, you need at least 3 person or 3 things. So how can we change these sentences without changing their meaning from positive to comparative or from comparative to positive? Here we have one example. Shofiq is as smart as his brother. In this sentence, Shofiq is compared with his brother. Shofiq is being compared in the field of smartness with his brother, and it is said that he is equal to his brother. So how can we change it into comparative degree but without changing the meaning? Shofiq is not smarter than his brother. Shofiq is not more smart than his brother. That means they are equally smart. So here we could at least preserve half of the meaning, and this is the only possible way that we could do that. Then if you get the sentence into a negative one, here we have Shofiq is not as smart as his brother. The sentence itself is a negative one. So what we have to do, while changing it into comparative, we have to change the sentence from affirmative to negative, and if it is negative, we have to change it into an affirmative one. So how can we change it into comparative? Shofiq is not as smart as his brother. That means Shofiq is not equal in respect of smartness. So what we have to show? We understand that either Shofiq is more smart or less smart than his brother. So answer should be Shofiq is smarter or less smart than his brother.
I believe the rules are quite clear to you right now, how to change these sentences into another one as they are instructed in the question. Then a question might come, how are you going to answer them in your exam? Do we need to write the question and then the answer? Well, let me show you how we people are going to answer them. We just have to use the numbers that were given in the question and only answer is enough. So my dear students, from now on, whenever you attempt this kind of item, transformation, I believe that you'll be very confident in changing them and score good marks in your exams as well. With the hope of your better health and better education, I'm going to end up my today's class here. See you some other time with some other topic. Till then, bye-bye.